You want details? Fine. I drive a Ferrari 355 Cabriolet. What's up? I have a ridiculous house in the South Fork. I have every toy you can possibly imagine. And best of all, kids, I am liquid. So, now you know what's possible. Let me tell you what's required.
Life advice. Life advice is lifeadvicerr@gmail.com. Okay, here we go. Listen to the show for years. Want to get your take on what the limits of my involvement in my son's 10-year-old soccer team should be. To set the stage, I guess his son has a medical issue. Let's just say asthma. Okay. He has fun being out there. We have no expectations for an athletic career. Main issue is the coach. He's a volunteer coach and dad of one of the kids on the team. He's a nice guy, but I think ultimately he has some insecurities. He told me what his job was and immediately followed up by saying it's a really tough job. But he clearly just doesn't know anything about coaching soccer or how to manage 10 kids, which in his defense is extremely difficult. He has no organization at all. He has no plan for practice. Then during practice, he will frequently lecture the kids for extended periods about game situations and then follow up with a drill that does not reinforce the game situation discussed. Probably the most offensive thing he did was send an email to the whole team telling everybody that they need to be on time for practice at 5:30 because he was mad people were showing up late, only for him to show up the next day after 5:30, spend 25 minutes setting up the field and talking to the assistant coach about what they want to do. Every practice has started this way. Humble brag alert. I played on a top 5 D1 team. Woo. Currently active duty military and have personally coached juniors. I only say this to explain that I've seen a wide variety of coaching leadership styles. No, I don't think that's a humble brag at all. I think it sets it's good context for the email. Honestly, the most effective teaching I've ever seen was a hip hop dance lesson that I took once in a whim. And my wife was a second grade teacher and principal at an inner city school, so she understands kid management well, and we talk about it a lot. I previously emailed him, and the assistant offered to help out at practice, which he was happy to accept. But to say his control of the group is infuriating is an understatement. And again, my son is having fun out there, so I can't complain much. But there are very good athletes on the team, and they've only developed worse habits over the past 3-4 weeks of practice. There's not been one pass. Oh, wait. There has not been one pass attempted in a game? He says there's not been one pass attempted in a game. Too late to apologize. A long email wondering your thoughts, how I should proceed. Unfortunately, I only have limited time to help out. Look, I think this is a very common thing. Even without having kids, like I know the deal enough because I've had friends that were coaches. I know the times my father called the coaches that I had when I was younger, and no one likes it ever. No one ever likes it. All the coaches think every parent is fucking crazy, and every parent thinks the coach sucks. It is the agent-client relationship for on-air people. Every one of us that's on air thinks our agents don't do enough, and they should be doing more. And almost every one of our agents is like, this fucking guy's delusional. All right. And I don't know that anybody's right or anybody's wrong. It's just the way it is. And the coaching youth sports thing, I never hear good stories ever about any of it. So my first instinct would be, hey, you said it twice. Your kid's having fun out there. So, all right, they're not developing. And he's late. And I guess you guys never pass. There's a real ISO heavy approach here. But if you said your son's having fun twice, isn't that the whole point? And so it's all right. It's one bad youth coach. You're not going to have this coach beyond this season or whatever the season is. You might even have 2 coaches in the same year. And it's going to be really frustrating for you as a former athlete who played pretty high level soccer here to watch all this stuff happen. But if you don't have the time yourself to take it over and fix it, then there's not really much you can do. I mean, it's just every single parent out there, when you get your kids into youth sports, there are going to be a bunch of coaches that just aren't good at it. And then you can talk about the insecurity part of it. Like I was lucky enough in the basketball stuff where my father coached me, but it was funny because it wasn't like I got hooked up. I actually was the one, and we laugh about it. And I even started to figure out at a young enough age where it didn't bother me that much. But when he would want to yell at somebody on the team, he would yell at me to yell at them. And first I'd be like, what is he talking about? Like, I didn't do that. And then we talked about it. And then I always thought it was really funny, but he didn't favor me. If anything, he probably went out of his way to make sure no one thought he was favoring me. But there were always parents that would call the house. But the problem is my dad was like 6'5" and played in college a little bit. So it was going to be like a hard guy to tell him that he was wrong about basketball from a bunch of suburban parents. But then I guess there was another father that wanted to help out. And my father, I know he didn't really want to do it, but he did it just because he thought it was like the right thing to do. So that wasn't entirely his operation. And then even his kids, we could tell the other guy that came by to help, like, didn't have any clue. He didn't know what he was talking about. So like even the kids can understand it sometime. But I would do two things. I would take a deep breath and be like, if your kid is having fun and you can't fix this right now, I think you got to kind of step back and accept this. And the other part of this would be because I was guilty of having this happen with me, and it happened a lot. Don't poison the kid. Like, don't get the kids together or talk to your son about it, where even if you're right, I think it really sucks when you poison the kids and have them all knowing that their coach sucks, which happened to me a lot too, where you'd be with the other parents and they would just constantly talk about how much your coach sucks. And then you're this young and you're so impressionable and you just start thinking like, oh yeah, this guy does suck. And this, look, even if he's late, even if he's not doing drills, even he's still donating his time to go ahead and do all of this stuff. And you're probably going to move on for him fairly soon anyway, if I understand anything about the way youth sport tiers work. This guy's going to be in your rear view very quickly. So I'm sure there's plenty of people that disagree with me on this one, but I don't know. I feel like it's the most repetitive thing ever all the time, in that people are constantly mad at the youth coach no matter what. And the youth coach just always thinks the parents suck. So I don't know. Kyle, you ever volunteer?
Salvation Army once. Had to clean a bunch of roller skates, get out of
Court
a traffic
mandated.
ticket. Yeah. Yep. That was it. And I played youth soccer for a little bit, but I think I was done by the time I was in 5th grade. I was on the red team when I finished my final season.
Cerruti?
I've thought about this a lot, like, future, having kids, and obviously I care about sports and I'm super competitive. So I'm like, am I going to be that annoying competitive parent who like wants to, but no, I feel like I have the self-awareness where I'm not going to do that. But I think this guy has to understand, like, this isn't like the Barcelona Youth Academy, man. Like you said it to you said it yourself in the email, like, there's no like aspirations of college or pro for your son here. And if he's having fun, I think you need to just let him have fun. Maybe the coach is overwhelmed. Maybe just say, hey, offer him up a couple of tips. I don't know, like, unless he's kind of a hardo and you don't want to talk to him. But I wouldn't really disturb this too much, because at the end of the day, if the kid's having a good time, then just leave him alone, man. Just let him live his life.
I don't really know what the other, like, what's the other play here? Demand
you stage a coup when you take over. Yeah, like that's what you do. But
he even said he doesn't have the time for it. Like, what are you going to do? Demand he resign? We'll get a press conference out there. We'll say that you want to spend more time with your family. I mean, everybody's 10. Everybody's 10. I know I'm
confused about the no passing though. That's a problem. You should be like, hey, we should get some passing drills going on in each practice session, and maybe bump that from 0 to like 5 a game, because that doesn't make any sense.
I would ask it this way. Is there anything people have spent more time caring about that ultimately they will never care about in the future than what your kid does in a youth game? Like, you care about it so much in the moment, and you already know years removed, like, none of that meant anything. Now, there's plenty of you out there that are parents that actually think your kid's going to, like, get a scholarship. But I would say maybe have a backup plan. But, all right. I got to do this other one here, because we get this one a lot, and I don't know that we've done it for a long time. All right. Big fan of the pod, 5'9", 193. Recently did 13 dead hang pull-ups. Pretty sweet. That does sound pretty fucking sweet, man. A 31-year-old single dude, fully aware of my receding hairline. I will be taking the plunge to bald life in the near future. I would love to get your tips for making the switch. A few things I'm thinking about on my short list. Keep it together physically. I already have short and bald going for me, so I need to stay in good shape. I would agree. Add the beard. I never really rocked a full beard, but maintaining some well-groomed stubble could help. Agree on that too. I had a beard before I shaved my head for years and years, just because I kind of liked it. But I don't know. I haven't been clean shaven, razor shaven, in I don't know how long. I think I did it once for a TV show, and I regretted it immediately. Get a tattoo. I've thrown this around, this one around my younger years. That this might be a big drastic. Look, I get it. Sleeves can look cool. I saw a guy the other day with a sleeve, and I was like, man, that does look kind of cool. I'm not going to do it. I'm not saying don't do it. But I do think there'll be a window where this generation is going to get older and people are going to be in nursing homes with like full on neck tats and stuff. It's going to be pretty crazy. All right. It'd be great to hear anything you could add to this list from a physical perspective, but also how to respond to people who act regularly or react regularly. I feel like I don't have much more than, I'm bald. There's not really much you can do, man. I mean, it's funny how people can like obsess over how we have to worry about everybody's feelings now, which isn't remotely realistic. And most of the people that I think that do that are, for the most part, pretty hypocritical. Like if you're somebody who like has this public stance or whatever, I'm almost positive I can sift through your bullshit and find something that you've done, be like, hey, that didn't seem to be very nice, even though this is the shit you're preaching all the time on Instagram. But I guess people can change. Anyway, the bald thing is weird because it's almost like that's still an unprotected one. Like that one's not protected by today's social defense mechanisms, where it's like, holy shit, you're bald, fucking loser. Like, you know what I mean? Like it can basically happen. I don't think getting called fat now is more offensive than bald. Although skinny people have never had anybody defending them. Like it's like, hey, you shouldn't call people fat. They're like, well, people call me a skinny rail. Like no one cares. But the bald thing, they're an under protected group of society. So you're right. Like it's going to suck. I mean, it sucked when I started to have the bald spot and people were just okay making fun of it all the time. It used to happen to me on radio shows, a TV show, pulled the
was
jib
that Van
up.
Pelt though? Was that Van Pelt? Because he was already bald and he was like he wanted you to come home for a while. And I think you held out longer because you basically didn't want to listen to him.
No, like it went on way before that. Like we had a younger Boston talk show where all the guys were really young and they had this girl call in. It was supposedly like we were going to go on a date, but it wasn't. And then the other host said I sport a flesh-colored yarmulke to all the sporting events or something. So it was really fucking nasty. Yeah.
Intense Kyle.
Hey, Kyle. Simmer down a little.
I've never heard that before.
What the
Wow. Every once in a while, you just hear something clever. I'd never heard that one before. I guess I haven't been out in the world long enough. But that one is funny.
And trust me, like, I wanted to slap the kid around a little bit after saying it because I just remember being like, are you fucking serious? Like, I'm going to lose my hair. I'm the one that's going to go bald. Like, and I'm trying to be on TV. Like, this is ridiculous. And it was happening. Like, the bald spot just grew so fast, like right before I even turned 30. I was like, can't I go bald later like everybody else does? And on top of everything else. But it sucked, man. It used to bother me so much. I'd get really bummed out about it. And yet no one had any problem having it be their go-to to fuck with you, even like friends. You know, you couldn't be like, hey, are you an alcoholic cheating on your wife? Like nobody thought that would be cool to say to somebody when you catch up. But if they said to you, hey, Russillo, sweet fucking, and granted, I think there were some people that were like, good, fuck him. Fuck Russillo. So glad he has a bald spot, dick. So I'm with you. Like but I can only tell you this. As soon as I just finally said, I'm sick of this, because I'd get a haircut from this woman and she's like, oh no, it looks fine. It looks fine. And you're like, it doesn't look fine. And I don't know what it was. I just said, screw it. I'm done with it. But you're right, Cerruti. The Van Pelt part always pissed me off because he had this absolute joy in his face every time he'd catch it at a different angle. He was so happy that was happening and he couldn't hide it at all. And that pissed me off too, because I'd be like, you're rooting for this. And then it was like, you had a soul patch and fucking Pete Campbell look forever and you're giving me shit because I haven't given yet. And what you don't realize is until you actually do it, like I don't even think about it anymore. I don't even think about it. So should I have done it sooner? Yeah, but I wasn't ready. And if you're not ready, you're not ready. And that's okay. It's not coming back. I don't think, I tried a few different things. I never went like the full reseeding route. I thought about it. I've had a couple friends that did it. It looked like it worked out. So some ways I'm like, you know what? I'd rather have hair. I also realized too that like my profile of being a single guy I don't know if it's awesome or terrible. Like, hey, how old is he now? What the fuck? He's never even been engaged. Wait, where's his house? Oh, okay. That's his house. Okay. I don't, but I also know this, that if I'm talking to somebody and I'll admit, like, I don't really date anybody my age. There's going to be a
Nice.
girl that's younger than me that will be like, this fucking guy's got like, I'm not like all the way bald, but yeah, like I have a bald spot that now with a shaved head down, you don't really see unless you see it. So it looks like I just have close crop, but then it's like, no, he's like bald and on the top. And there's going to be women that I talk to that are never going to fuck with that ever. They're just gonna be like, no, why would I do that when there's people with hair? So my point is like, there's just parts of it that suck. There's nothing you can do about it. But worrying about things that you can't, again, control what you control. I love this advice. I'll never forget. Wick Grosbeck bought the Celtics. We were becoming close. And I said, it's too bad you don't have this guy. And he just looked at me like I was the dumbest guy ever. He's like, yeah, why would I worry about that? We don't have that guy. Okay. So moving on. Like, we don't have that guy on the team and we're not going to get him. So why would I spend any time of my day worrying about that kind of thing or fantasizing about having this option that's not obtainable? Like, why would you do that? And so once I shaved it off, I don't know. It's a weird thing. You're just like, oh, cool. I don't have to think about this anymore. It's just all out there. So if you're listening to this and you're on the fence, I'm not telling you to do anything that you're not ready for. I can just tell you that once I did it, I was like, oh shit. Like I'm not hoping somebody doesn't see the angle of the back of my head. It's just out there. It also helped to be a little taller and jacked. You guys can work on one of those.
I remember the day that you shaved it, and it was jarring. Like, it was wild. And now the idea of picturing you with hair is insane to me. Like, I think you look like you, and the good thing for this guy too, and you, Ryan, is the bald beard look is a good look. It's like I would say it's a top 10 dude look. Maybe even top
There's too many
5.
guys doing it, honestly. I'd like a few guys to scale back.
So when you say like, oh, girls aren't interested in you because you are just going to say no immediately because you don't have hair. I don't know. I kind of feel like the bald beard thing is in right now and is cool. So it's going to be jarring at first for this guy, but then I don't know, like people are going to figure it out and then you're going to end up looking like you're going to look good in the long run and it'll be fine. But, I want to go back to something you said. If you could get hair today, you would have hair?
Yeah, I think I would be better suited for some of the TV stuff that I was planning on doing. But again, I'm not at ESPN anymore. I'm never going to work there again, I wouldn't imagine. So I don't, I just think that I don't know. I think there was a way that, let's be honest. If I were a better looking guy, they would have used me for more NBA stuff. No question. But I also, would fuck it up too. I'd have like a pretty unkempt beard and a little bit of neck hair. It's like, you're on ESPN, buddy.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here? And then by the end of it, they were so desperate to have me on because they didn't have anybody in Bristol anymore. They were using me all the time. So maybe that doesn't have as much to do with it. But it's just something you got to accept, like when somebody isn't that attractive and they're like, I wish I was a model. You're like, you probably have different goals. And I'm not telling you nobody likes the bald look, but I know that it's one of those deals. Like, it's going to be part of it. Would you want, you can't really do the bald girlfriend thing because it's not all that realistic. Kyle, do you have anything to add to this or no?
I don't really have much to add. This is one of those stayaways for me, although it seems like he's not worried about his friends bothering him. Like, it seems like he doesn't feel like he has shithead friends because he didn't really mention that. So that's cool. At least you can you don't have that kind of friendship. My friendships aren't that way. So it's nice that
No, but he brought up a really good point at the end. It was like, how do I respond? Like, I don't know. I don't know what it is about losing your hair. People are very okay, even people you're not even that close with, being like, oh, holy shit, bro, you're losing your hair. And you're like, okay. Yeah. There's not really much you can do. You can start beating everybody up at work, but that's probably not going to work out for you. The corporate world frowns on that kind of thing. And then if you act too defensive, then it's like, oh, look at this guy. Look how defensive he is. Look, I'm just telling you, for anybody that's in their 20s or losing your hair, it fucking sucks. Nobody's like, oh, you know what? I was kind of cool with it. Unless you wanted to be bald and shaved head, okay? But most guys are like, are you fucking serious? And it's a bummer, man. So I'm not like advocating for mental health awareness for guys in their 20s losing their hair. But if you're one of those guys with a full head of hair that like decides to take a jab at a guy that's losing his hair, especially in his 20s, go fuck yourself. Go back to your cubicle. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, that guy's just insecure about something else, though. I mean, that's what that is. If you're a guy that's cool with that, and I don't know, it's that's beyond ball busting. Because losing your hair is not like some of the examples you said before were pretty extreme. Losing your hair is like kind of in that safe zone where it sucks enough to like make fun of somebody about it, but you can make fun of them and it's not going too far. It's in that weird zone. So I don't know, but if you do that, that's kind of a dick move, man. Like, come on, there's probably something else going on with you.
I had somebody who was this creepy anchor, which I know is rare, but he went to my girlfriend at work at ESPN and was like, because he was married, he's miserable fuck, and he had a family, and he was always trying to cheat on his wife, and he was dumping on me, being like, I can't believe you pick him out of everybody here, considering he's bald. And she told me, but she didn't tell me until after he was gone. So, I mean, that's the kind of stuff. I still obviously know who it is now, but I would just be like, how could you be cool saying that to somebody about somebody else? But it was his own weird deal of like wanting to like, that was his way of working
crazy,
her.
Dude. It's crazy.
I know. Right. That's why I would say this, like whenever anybody asks about confidence or self-confidence and all that kind of stuff, and it pertains to this a little bit. We're going really long here, so I apologize, Kyle. We'll be done in a minute. But just picture everyone that you interact with in life and just go like, there's stuff that this person is really lacking confidence in. Like, there's somebody that gets into this person's head. It isn't me, but there's someone that this woman has in her past that she just, is devastated about. There's someone in this guy's past that just runs this dude. So whenever you have these interactions where you have to like deal with somebody who, maybe has the upper hand on you, I like to go through this exercise of thinking about all the people that he knows doubt him deep down, or who it is in his past that just owns him emotionally, and never assume that anyone's as self-confident as they want to pretend that they are. It's a really good exercise. So if you're bald and somebody's making fun of you, just try to play a little game where you're like, I wonder how that guy's life sucks though secretly. I don't know if we helped anybody today on this one. Okay, I think we're done here. Thank you to Kyle and of course Steve. We'll talk to you on Wednesday.